this week's walkthrough. So click on Cell Cycle Genetics. As usually, you've got the module overview, why it matters. So we're going to look at cell replication, patterns of inheritance, and I'm updating this right now. The online activities are here, and as usually, you've got a meme that I think is funny. Then you get to the lab handout and background info. The lab handout folder can be found here, and you click on it to get to the lab handout. This is where you're going to find the background information as usually, and then the things you're going to fill out, and you're going to fill this out as part of the a question set again. This lecture talks to you about the background information. This link goes to the PowerPoint folder, which is actually the same folder as this. So this is where the PowerPoints are. This is where everything is in this folder. So if one of those links doesn't work, try the other one. One of them should work. Then demonstrations. This is a basic overview of all the things that you're supposed to do this week. Then lots of people are struggling getting started with the virtual child. So this helps you with that. I've got a number of different resources that are helpful here. Cell Cycle Genetics gives you all the lectures, demonstrations, specifically the onion root tip, which is also linked separately here. The virtual onion root tip activity, you just click next until you get to a practice for the onion root tip activity, and I highly recommend you run through this. This one, there's a lots of things that trip people up in this particular lab. So there is a whole section specifically about the different questions in the handout and how you calculate these things, and how you figure these things out. So utilize this resource, and the resource is linked right here under resources under demonstrations. And then we get to the assignments. The assignments, I'm going to give you another link to the assignment materials, lab handout folder, question sets. And this time there's a couple of in the handout question sets, because we're collecting data from all of you. There's a couple of links in there. I'm repeating the links here in case you have a need to access these things again. One is the where you're submitting your onion root tip results, and the other one is where you're submitting your own traits in order to do the genetic survey activity. So there's a quiz, and then there's the handout section quiz, and then there's a Labster folder. In order to help you keep track of all the things you're supposed to be doing, I've started putting a completion checklist together. If you click on here, same folder where everything is, there's a checklist, and obviously this is a work in progress. But in this particular overview, there's a lecture quiz, there's a handout section quiz, and then mitosis and meiosis, um, and the walkthrough, the lecture, the lab, um, And so you can check all the things, and it tells you where the things are, if they're someplace else. Hopefully that's going to be helpful to try to help you keep track of what's going on. So then you get out of this one. Um, Here's the lecture quiz. 3 attempts. View the assessment and then take it. And then here's the handout set quiz. And the handout set quiz, I'm going to have you look at it real quick. Um, it's basically what your handout is going to be. So fill out the handout, the question set first, and then do this. And in here, there's a couple of places that have links where you're going to submit data. So here's that form, and then there's the later on. There's where you submit your data in a sheet, and then you get the overall data back. Oh, and I forgot about this one. I need to add this one. That's where the virtual child gallery goes. But there is this Google Sheet where you're adding your data, and then you get the group data back. And that's it for this week.